Hello children, welcome back to the digital class of Social Studies. How are you all? So today we shall continue with Industries in India Part 2. Do you remember what we have learnt in Part 1? We have learnt about the introduction to industries, basic necessities to set up industries, classification of industries, basic industries, agglomeration of industries, industrial location and textile industry. So let's see the learning outcomes of today's session. By the end of the chapter, you will be able to classify different types of industries in India. Brief about the government policies in the early years. Know about the emerging issues in the industrial development. Explain the need for new industrial policy resolutions and identify environmental problems and pollutions. So let's see the mind mapping of today's session. We shall discuss about the classification of industries, government and industrial development the early years, emerging problems, new industrial policy and its impact, and finally we will discuss about the environmental problems and pollution. So are you ready now? Let's begin with classification of industries. Industries are mainly classified into four types, that is agro-based industry, mineral-based industries, automobile industries and information technology and electronics, which we have already learnt in the part 1. So let's begin with agro-based industry. From the name agro-based, that means industries which use agricultural products as raw materials to produce the other goods is known as agro-based industry. So agro-based industry is classified into three types: cotton textile, jute textile and sugar industry. So let's start with cotton textile industry. In the ancient years, there was hand spinning and weaving techniques. So look at the picture here. What do you see in the picture? Yes, he is the father of our nation, Mahatma Gandhi. And what is he doing? He is using spinning wheel to spin yarn and weave khadi. So why did he use spinning wheel? He wanted to boycott British goods and wanted to encourage Swadeshi goods, that means made in India. And he also encouraged all the people to use Swadeshi goods. And what do you call this spinning wheel? It is charka, right? So because he wanted to boycott the British goods, he started weaving khadi of cotton cloths. But after 18th century, power looms came into use. Power looms run on electricity. In England, cotton textiles were produced in large quantities with the help of power loom. Mill-made cotton cloth was cheaper compared to handmade, right? Power looms, they run on electricity, so there was very fast production. Quality of goods were also good, and mill-made goods are cheaper than handmade goods. Okay. Why was cotton textile industry concentrated in Maharashtra and Gujarat? So most of the cotton textiles were concentrated in Gujarat and Maharashtra. What could be the reasons? Because of availability of raw cotton, market, transport, including accessible port facilities, labor, moist climate, etc., contributed towards its localization. So as you can see here, Gujarat and Maharashtra, they are in the coastal areas. So here port facilities are also available. So due to availability of raw materials, availability of transportation and also due to moist climate, which is very much necessary to produce cotton. So cotton textiles are concentrated in Maharashtra and Gujarat. Industry has close links with agriculture and provides a living to farmers and cotton pluckers and workers. So cotton textile industry, it is not only producing the goods but also providing lot of employment opportunities for many workers, even to the farmers. So, how it is giving opportunity to farmers? By producing the cotton goods, right? And these industries use raw cotton which is produced by the agricultural sector. So, both agricultural sector and industrial sector both have very close link. Both of them depend on each other, right? So, in this way farmers got the living and also many workers got the employment opportunities. See, like cotton pluckers who pluck the cotton from the cotton fields. Then ginning, weaving, dyeing, that is coloring, designing, packing, tailoring and sewing. So, in all these fields many workers got the employment opportunities. So, then weaving. Spinning was centralized in Maharashtra, Gujarat and Tamil Nadu, but weaving was decentralized. That means it was not concentrated at one place or in only few parts of the country. It was decentralized. That means it was spread to many states. So, what could be the reason for that? To provide scope for traditional skills and designs of weaving in cotton, silk, zari, embroidery, etc. See children, now we can see different varieties of designs even in silk, embroidery work. So, all this is possible because of the decentralization, that is, see, skills are people are talented all over the country. So, if it is decentralized, if it is spread to different areas, then we could get better designs. So, weaving was decentralized, spinning was centralized, right? India exports yarn to Japan. Yarn means the thread. Cotton goods to USA, UK, Russia, France, East European countries, Nepal, Singapore, Sri Lanka and African countries. So, let us do one activity here. Locate the following places on world map: USA, Russia, Nepal, Singapore and France. So, that was about cotton textile industry. Now, let us move on to the jute textiles. So, jute, it is very famous in today's world, and jute is a biodegradable material. It is environment friendly. Jute is known as golden fiber and it is also commercial crop which increases the income of the country. So, you can see here jute fields and this is raw jute. Bangladesh stands first place in the exports of jute, whereas India stands second place in exports of jute. There are about 70 jute mills in India. Most of these are located in West Bengal, mainly along the banks of the Hooghly River, 98 kilometers and 3 kilometers wide. So, if you look at this picture, this is Hooghly River and where is it located? It is located in West Bengal, and this is a Howrah Bridge, the very famous bridge in West Bengal. So, how many mills are located here? 70 jute mills in India and most of them are concentrated in West Bengal. So, what are the factors responsible for the location of jute mills in Hooghly Basin? Proximity of the jute producing areas. Proximity means very near. So, jute producing areas are very near to Hooghly Basin. Inexpensive water transport, as they are near Hooghly Basin or river basin, there is no need of spending amount on the water transportation, and it is supported by a good network of railways, roadways and waterways to facilitate movement of raw material to the mills. Abundant water for processing raw jute. So, raw jute requires lot of water, and since it is near river basin, the raw jute can be easily processed. And availability of cheap labor from West Bengal, Bihar, Odisha and Uttar Pradesh. So, these are the factors responsible for the location of jute mills in the Hooghly Basin. Then what about employment opportunities? we have seen employment in cotton textile industry. Now, jute textile also provides lot of employment opportunities. Like 2.61 lakh workers are getting directly employment or job in the jute industry, whereas 40 lakh small and marginal farmers are engaged in cultivation of jute and mesta. Mesta is also another type of jute and it is better than jute. So, main markets for jute are USA, Canada, Russia, United Arab Emirates, UK and Australia. Demand for jute products. The growing global concern for environment-friendly, biodegradable materials has opened up the opportunity for jute products. So, as I told you, nowadays every person is using jute material because it is environment friendly and biodegradable. And since plastic is banned, so we use jute bags, even saris, dresses, everything is made of jute. Okay, so demand for jute products has increased lot. Let's move on to sugar industry. So you know sugar, every day we use it in our daily life, right? Then India stands second as a world producer of sugar, but it occupies the first place in the production of jaggery and kansari. This is jaggery. And what is kansari? It is also sugar cubes, small sugar cubes, which generally we use it for offering prasadam to the god. Okay, very small. It is called as mystery. Then, how many sugar mills are there in India? There are 460 sugar mills in India. Where are they located? Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Madhya Pradesh, Gujarat, Maharashtra, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, Punjab and Haryana. 60% mills are in Uttar Pradesh and Bihar. So, where should the sugar and jaggery mills be ideally located? So, how sugar is produced? What is the raw material? It is sugar cane. So, the ideal location of sugar mills is in the close to the areas where sugar canes are produced or nearby the sugar cane farms. Next type of industry is mineral based industry. So, what is the meaning of mineral based industry? Industries that use minerals and metals as raw materials are called mineral based industries. Example, iron and steel industry. See, iron and steel, iron is a mineral and these are used as a raw materials to produce other goods. So, many industries use metals and minerals to produce other goods and the main one is iron and steel industry. Okay. So, iron and steel industry is a basic industry and is the backbone of industrial development of any country. Iron and steel is used in every industry. If you want to produce a bench or a table or if you want to construct a building, for everything the basic thing needed, basic raw material required is iron and steel, isn't it? So, it is the basic industry and it is the backbone for any other industry. Mineral based industries can be classified into 5 types. What are they? Iron and steel industry, aluminum smelting, chemical industries, fertilizer industry and cement industry. Let's learn them in detail now. First one, iron and steel industry. So, as I told you, it is the backbone of any other industry. The iron and steel industry are the basic industries since all the other industries, it may be heavy, medium and light. All these industries, they depend on them for their machinery. So, any type of industry, what is the first raw material they use? They use iron and steel. So, it is called as basic industry. Steel is needed to manufacture a variety of engineering goods, construction material, defense, medical, telephonic, scientific equipment and a variety of consumer goods. So, what is the use of steel? We use steel in construction of buildings, dams, roads, etc. And what are consumer goods in steel? See, we use every day, we use utensils, right? So, these utensils are made out of steel. Even if you take a glass also, it is made of steel. Spoon is made of steel, okay? So, these are basic industries. What is the required proportion to harden the steel? So, as I told you, these are the minerals. So, there is required quantity, how much proportion has to be used to make the steel. Iron ore, this is iron ore, coking coal and limestone are required in the ratio of 4:2:1. So, 4 proportions of iron ore, 2 proportion of coking coal and 1 proportion of limestone is used to make steel. And some quantities of manganese are also required to harden the steel. Next is aluminium smelting. Aluminium smelting is the second most important metallurgical industry in India. So, what is metallurgical? Metallurgical means the technique of separating metals from their ores. The ore is extracted from the ground and from the ore metals are separated. This technique is known as metallurgical, and this is also very important industry after iron and steel. It is light, resistance to corrosion. What is the meaning of corrosion? Deterioration of metals, like for example rusting of iron. See, when iron or steel or these materials, when they are exposed to moisture, what happens? Rust is formed on the materials. But aluminium does not get rusting because it is resistant to corrosion. So, aluminium does not get damaged easily. Then it is a good conductor of heat. What is the meaning of good conductor of heat? Metals which allow heat to pass through them are known as good conductors of heat. And malleable. Malleable means it is the ability of solid to bend or hammered into other shapes. So, aluminium can be easily bent. For example, gold. So, gold is into other shapes. Iron is also bent and turned into many other shapes. So, aluminium is also malleable. So, it can also be bent easily and the shape can be easily changed. Okay, did you understand? So, and it becomes strong when it is mixed with other metals. So, these are the advantages of aluminium. It is used to manufacture aircraft, utensils and wires. It has gained popularity as a substitute of steel, copper, zinc and lead in a number of industries. So, aluminium is used as a substitute. Substitute means what? In place of. Suppose steel is not available. So, easily they can use aluminium in producing the goods. How many aluminium plants are there? There are 8 aluminium smelting plants in India located in Odisha, that is Nalco and Balco plant, West Bengal, Kerala, Uttar Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Maharashtra and Tamil Nadu. Factors required for the location of aluminium industry. There are mainly 2 prime factors, that is regular supply of electricity, assured source of raw material at minimum cost. So, if these 2 factors are available, then aluminium industries can be easily set up. Next type of industry is chemical industries. Chemical industry in India is fast growing and diversifying. Diversifying means it is spread. It contributes approximately 3% to the GDP. What is GDP? It is gross domestic product. That means the total value of finished goods and services produced in a country in a year. So, what is the contribution of chemical industries? It is 3%, and it is the third largest in Asia and occupies 12th place in the world in terms of size. Chemical industries can be understood under two headings, that is inorganic chemicals and organic chemicals. Inorganic chemicals like sulfuric acid, nitric acid, alkalis, soda ash and caustic acid. Sulfuric acid is used to manufacture fertilizers, plastics, paints, dyestuffs, etc. Nitric acid, alkalis, soda ash are used to make glass, soaps and detergents. Detergents are which is used for washing the clothes. Then organic chemicals. Organic chemicals are petrochemicals. Petrochemicals are used to manufacture synthetic fibers, synthetic rubber, dyestuffs, plastics, drugs, that is medicines and pharmaceuticals and etc. Next is fertilizer industry. So, industries which produce fertilizers. The fertilizer industry is centered around the production of nitrogenous fertilizers, mainly urea. So, who uses this? Farmers. Farmers use fertilizers. Okay. So, what mainly they use urea, and that is called as nitrogenous fertilizer. Then phosphatic fertilizers and ammonium phosphate, that is DAP, and potash, that is potassium. What is the symbol? K. Potash is entirely imported as we do not have commercially usable potash or potassium compounds in any form. So, these are the fertilizers which are produced in the fertilizer industry. Cement industry. Cement industry is very much necessary for construction of buildings, dams, bridges, etc. Raw materials required are limestone, silica, alumina, gypsum, coal and even electric power. The first cement plant was set up in Chennai in 1904. There are 128 large plants and 332 mini cement plants in the country. Where would it be economically viable to set the cement manufacturing units? Since cement manufacturing requires bulky and heavy raw materials like coal, limestone, silica, etc. So, the raw materials used by cement industry are very bulky, in large quantities they have to use, and also heavy. So, such industries are likely to be located near to the areas where such minerals are found. To reduce the cost of transportation of these materials, since these are heavy materials and bulky, the transportation cost is also very high. So, to avoid that, these industries have to be set up near those areas where these raw materials are available. Okay? Then next one is automobile industry. So, automobile means what? Vehicles. As you can see, different vehicles here. These provide quick transport of goods and passengers. Trucks, buses, motorcycles, scooters, three-wheelers, etc. are manufactured in India at various centers. After liberalization of economic policies in 1991, many MNCs were set up for the production of automobiles in India. What is MNC? Multinational company. So, after liberalization, that is after removing the licensing policies, many automobile industries were set up in India. Next is information technology, that is IT sector. So, IT sector, what do they provide? They provide hardware products, software products, hardware services and software services. So, what are the hardware products? Like they are physical, that means which can be touched, like computing and non-computing devices. Software products are virtual, which cannot be touched, which are not physical. These are generated by or for computing devices. Then what are the services? hardware services and software services. Like hardware services are given by human beings, things done to develop and support hardware, and software services are things done to develop and support software. Electronic industry. Electronic industry covers a wide range of products like transistor, telephones, television, etc. Bangalore has emerged as the electronic capital of India. A major impact of this industry has been on employment generation. 30% of the people employed in this sector are women, and it is also a major foreign exchange industry. Let's do an activity here. Fill in the blanks in the following table, like industry, states in which they are currently concentrated, why are they concentrated in those states. Please fill up this table. Next topic is government and industrial development, the early years. In India, a few factories are operated by government and most others by private companies. This kind of arrangement was made keeping in view the huge amount of capital required to set up large industries at that time of India. So, to set up large industries, capital requirement was very high. So, this only government could do. That is why large factories were under the control of government. Government also took responsibility to provide infrastructure facilities. Government also introduced many restrictions so that small producers could be helped. For example, production of cloth of a specified quality was restricted to handlooms. Government also made laws so that the large factory owners get prior permission, that is, they have to take license, compulsory license from the government to set up the factories. Then, because of this, many problems have arisen. So, what are the emerging problems? Like licensing policy, shortage of goods, quality of goods. Licensing policy. Since the government has kept the rule that private companies have to take license. So, misuse of licensing system. Licenses were not always given to the most efficient producers. Some of these would be in very different and unrelated products. So, let us see one example. Suppose a textile manufacturer. Now, there is a misuse of licensing system. Textile manufacturer got a license for cement factory. So, he has taken the license for cement factory. But do you think it is correct? Do the textile manufacturer know about the cement industry? Will he be able to run the industry? No. So, this was a misuse of licensing system. Shortage of goods. The government has increased the prices and it also started controlling the prices. So, because of this, the shortage of goods have started. For example, to buy a scooter, the people have had to wait for several years. Okay, so what was the reason for this? Since the government was controlling the prices, many producers thought that it would be waste to produce the goods. So, there was a demand for scooters, but producers were not producing the scooters. So, for this, people had to wait for many years. So, this had led to shortage of goods, and not only the vehicles, even for coal and cement also this problem has arisen. This is mainly due to the control of prices by the government. Quality of products. So, quality of products was also not so good because the lack of competition. There was no competition among the producers. Okay, and private companies, they had to take license from the government. So, this has reduced the quality of products. New policy for industries have emerged. So, what are the features of Industrial Policy Resolution 1991? So, new Industrial Policy Resolution was introduced in 1991. So, what are the features? Abolition of industrial licensing, public sector's role diluted, pre-entry to foreign investment and technology. What was the impact of industrial policies? Due to industrial resolution policies which was introduced in 1991, There was increase in number of industrial units and job opportunities also increased. Increase in environmental problems and pollution. So, though the industry started developing, it also led to a bad impact, that is environmental pollution. Okay. See, production process needs lot of electricity and chemicals. So, what happens due to this? It has increased pollution. So, it has led to environmental problems. We have come to the end of our session, that is industries in India part 2. So, let us do one evaluation. Answer the following questions. Why did Mahatma Gandhi lay emphasis on spinning yarn and weaving khadi? What is the impact of industrial development on an employment generation? And locate the following places on map of India. Where is Nalco and Balco plant located? Which city is known as the electronic capital of India? And where was the first cement plant set up in 1904? Hope you will do the evaluation part. For better understanding of the concepts, solve the worksheets. Please visit the official website of SIET for worksheets. I hope you have enjoyed the session and you have understood the complete chapter Industries in India. Thank you. Have a nice day.